Hey guys, how's it going? CoreData here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're playing some more cards, and we're taking a look at one of my favorite archetypes, which is Germany, Finland, Heinz. So this is the list. This is Gerfin Heinz, and this may look completely different to any Gerfin Heinz you've ever seen before. So Germany, Finland, Heinz is a deck that got probably the biggest facelift out of Homefront. This deck received one of the most insane cards it possibly could have, which has very much influenced what you're seeing in front of you. Trust me, this is going to make a lot more sense in a moment. But yeah, this is Homeland Heinz. This is built entirely around one of the brand new elites to come out of Homefront, and that is Front and Homeland. This card is a ridiculous card for this deck. It is a 4-credit order, draws itself from your deck on turn 4, and when you play it, it reduces the cost of all odd-cost German cards in your deck by 1. So the way this works is, when you reach turn 4, you will draw for turn, and if you have not drawn Front and Homeland, either in your mulligan or in any of the turns preceding turn 4, or for your draw for turn on 4, it will automatically enter your hand as an extra draw. This is relevant with some of the stuff we're going to talk about in a second. But in this deck, as you can see, looking at our curve, we are like 90% 1-drops. If you look at the curve, we have 24 1-drops. We're incredibly heavily concentrated on the 1-drops because Front and Homeland turns our 1-drops into 0-cost cards, which means after we play Front and Homeland, this entire portion of the deck suddenly becomes free. What this ends up meaning is we get to play a very weird hybrid strategy. The deck plays like a standard aggro Heinz deck to begin with. You're aiming to play tanks early, get in for phase, use things like fast Heinz and your Panzer 3Fs to spread buffs around the board, and use Blitzkrieg to close out the game. However, if the game runs longer than, say, turn 5, we have the opportunity to just fire off Front and Homeland and then play like this really weird combo, like hyper aggressive combo deck. The deck is super interesting. It is, I will say, this deck is incredibly difficult to pilot correctly. There is a lot of micro decisions that will cost you games if you're not careful. Also, I want to point out that this video is going to be a set of stream highlights. All the games you're going to see are on stream, and I also want to point out that the camera is on the incorrect side of the screen for all of the gameplay, but I don't have time to go and record a separate gameplay, more gameplay for this video. I am extremely time crunched this week, so I'm afraid you're going to have to live with the fact you cannot see my opponent's credit counter. We weren't playing against any ramp, so you'll just have to count manually. There's no mana acceleration, so it's fine. You guys, you can survive 1 week with a with a borked video. It's okay. But yeah, this deck ends up playing, this deck plays on an axis that no other deck in Cards has, I think, played on previously. It is an incredibly weird deck, but also incredibly fun and very, very powerful in the correct matchups. I will say it has a absolutely dire matchup into Legions. It's not unwinnable, but it's like we're expecting to lose the majority of our Legion matchups. So it's not great. But against the other side of the metagame, things like Germany, France, things like Soviet control, versus certain mid-range decks, this deck is incredibly potent because we're able to get such fast starts and then transition into this really weird hyper aggro, like hand dumping combo deck. We can catch players out of nowhere, and a big facet of that is the 1-drops we're actually running. So from the new cards from Front and Homeland, we are running the SDKFC, the 259. This thing in this deck is actually kind of insane. I talked about this in the card review with Bear. I thought it would be okay. It's a decent 1-drop. As a tank that you play on turn 1, it's actually pretty good. My fear was that it wouldn't really be able to... It's so easily removable and it's so slow to get going that it wouldn't be good enough. Turns out just playing this on turn 1 is 9 times out of 10 just good enough. And also, because we are playing Panzer 3F, this thing can inherit Blitz from the 3F. And with the way this deck functions, this ends up being one of our primary win conditions. This card in this deck is able to output such ludicrous amounts of damage that it's very difficult to overstate how important it is to have some number of these in the deck. So yeah, we are playing the new KFC, and it is a lot better than I give it credit for. Phenomenal card in this list, particularly with the amount of draw we're running. And I do believe the only other new card in this deck is the returning Jagd Bomber. This is primarily in here versus other slower decks, things such as Soviet Control, or like mid-range decks that will have like one big beefy body in the front line, or maybe a big guard in the back line. Jagd Bomber just gives us a means of like clearing the front line to get things into it, to then clear up for Blitzkrieg, or just basically getting for damage. Plus, it's discounted by Front and Homeland, so frequently this is only ever going to cost us 4 credits. So yeah, Jagd Bomber, very, very good in this deck. I wouldn't recommend cutting it. This also helps with the density of aircraft for suppression, which I'm going to talk about in a second. But I think that is the only... They're the only 2 new cards that this deck got access to. The rest of the deck is just very, very powerful early game tanks and interaction. You will notice a lack of Kettenkrad in this list. I was running 3, but... on stream, at the start of stream, I cut them because I've been doing so much work with this deck, a ton of refining. And while Kettenkrad is incredibly powerful, don't get me wrong, this card is absolutely ludicrously powerful, it's too slow and too awkward for the deck to make use of consistently. While we have good targets, we don't really want to be investing that many credits in bouncing our targets and then replaying the targets. Like, bouncing an Arado to get an extra order draw is great. Bouncing a Jaeger Regiment to get an extra draw off the deployment trigger is great. Bouncing a Panzer IIIF to reuse the deployment on a board full of tanks is also great. The problem is doing those, it's going to cost you upwards of 4 credit for, like, bouncing the Arado and the Jaeger Regiment, as costing you, like, 5 to 7 to bounce the Panzer IIIF, depending on if you were doing it all in one turn. So it is a massive credit sink. If we were playing a slightly more mid-range or tempo version of the deck without the Front and Homeland package, I think Kettenkrad would make a lot more sense. But as it stands, I don't think it makes sense in this list. I tested it out. I did a ton of extensive testing with it. It just ended up being a little bit too clunky and a little bit too awkward. In its place, we are actually running 3 copies of Suppression now. Again, this just becomes a 0 credit cycle once we've gotten Front and Homeland. Because the Arados cost 0 after Front and Homeland, it's very easy to basically play an Arado and just cycle link suppressions. Likewise, same reason we're playing Buzz Bomb after Front and Homeland, they cost 0, and it just becomes 0k, burn 1 cycle. Very, very good. Yeah, a lot of the reasons behind the cards we're playing is they cost 1, so they are free 90% of the time. Aside from that, the deck is pretty straightforward. We are playing 2 copies of Lotus Sverd and 2 copies of Prolonged Siege. Those are the only finish cards in the deck because Front and Homeland only affects your German cards, so you want the highest possible density of German cards in the list. We are also running 2 copies of Enigma alongside Prolonged Siege. Because of how this deck operates with the Front and Homeland, reducing everything to 0 cost, essentially, you end up in these situations where you are able to repeatedly dump your hand and use Enigmas to draw 4, draw 5, and then continuously repeatedly dump the hand. This is what gives us so much power in the late game versus control decks. It's our ability to consistently flood the board and present lethal, or frequently just to draw into things like the new KFC and Panzer IIIF. Not to mention, if we have both of those plus an Enigma or a Siege in hand, that's just lethal 90% of the time. So yeah, the draw density in this deck, it's while quite heavy, like 2 Enigma is a lot with 2 Prolonged Siege, I think it is somewhat necessary for this list, just because of how it functions. Like I said, this version of Heinz plays on an axis that no version of Heinz before it has really attempted to play on. So it's a very, very interesting deck. Do I think it's good? Yes. Do I think it's incredibly good? Jury's out. The early metagame is so all over the place that it's very difficult to gauge how these decks are going to fit into the metagame. I think this is likely going to be a low tier 2 deck if I had to like stamp a guess in it right now. But I do think that this deck is a lot better than people think it is. So I highly recommend playing around with this list. I highly recommend testing out Front and Homeland. It is a ton of fun to build around. And like I said, it's going to be a set of stream highs. Apologies for the camera position. Nothing I can do about it. Just don't have time to work on on more gameplay this week. But yeah, that aside, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and onto some games. Up against Soviets. Okay. I'll keep the Enigma here. I'll keep the SDKFC. It's just a solid, like, it's a solid 1-drop tank. It's one of the few tanks we're, like, happy to drop on turn 1, just because it's able to put out pressure without necessarily being our entire game plan. But if it sticks, Enigma will just kill my opponent. And because we're so cycle heavy with things like the buzz bombs and stuff, it can grow very, very quickly. Fiat. Now I have the question of if I want to trade off the Fiat. I think I do, because Claim the Skies is... Claim the Skies farms me if I don't. Find the 3F. Play front and home one next turn, and then we just try and combo kill our opponent, I think. Okay, so they're playing, like, Soviet Italy soup, maybe? To say they're playing Corson? Or Cossacks, rather. Yak 7. KFC pack. I can take a value trade into the Yak. Can I? Wait, no, I can't. I can take the Corson out, alright, or the Cossacks. I think I want to free up the hand space anyway, so I can, like, Siege or I can Enigma. So I think I just do this regardless. I just need to bear in mind that Monasteer is now just an AK board wipe. Mobile defense. A lot of mobile defense all of a sudden. There's the Claim this, guys. On the pack. 35T. Enigma does not draw me anything here. I don't particularly want to double ping this, but I might have to. I could also just send it to hand with the Jagd Bomber. Delay him like a turn or two. He might be inclined to take the double trade into the Jagd Bomber with the double T-70s. The Yak just goes face then. But I could also just push the Panzer 2A forward. Soaks up a trade here. Force him to an awkward position if he wants to deal with the Jagd Bomber. Yeah, I think this is the play. I think we just bounce here and send the Panzer forward. Just because the bomber is able to put out a decent amount of pressure. Sickle. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, that's fine. Gets in for damage with the T-70. Interesting. Daggers on the Jagd Bomber. Okay. I mean, my 3F is up, so I do have opportunities here to potentially just win. Cards in hand, 7 versus what? 5? I can play the Arado for no value, but it gives me an extra draw off Enigma. Enigma is what, drawing me 3, technically? Play the Arado, Enigma draws me 4. It's the same as Siege, but it leaves me an extra credit. So I can potentially go for like a Svard plus something else. Play the Arado. Go for Enigma. Find a Heinz. Cycle the Buzz Bomb. I think we just do it like this. I think this is the most efficient use of the credits this turn. I am looking... If I top deck the SD KFZ, I think we just win on the spot. I don't think there's any way. Unless it's like exactly 9th Guards Corson. Which it might be. I've drawn enough cards that they're... Bersaglieri, okay. Bersaglieri Forged in Fire, giving it shock. Sure, dude. I guess. Here's a KFC pack. It's the problem is the lack of Greif or Svard here. Six, go down to 5. We're drawing 4 up to 9. Using 3 credits. There's the Greif. Go to F. Go fast Heinz. It's the kind of thing that makes me glad I'm grinding draft while meta sorts itself out. I mean, I think the main deck in the meta right now is like Intel, but that's like primarily because it's just good. After like a lot of new metas are usually defined by what the best deck of the last metas were that didn't get touched. Intel didn't really lose much. Yeah, this is just lethal with the 35Ts. It's just a lot of people haven't done the testing yet with a lot of the new stuff. I mean, Cat and Crowd is also just... Wait, why am I I just have a Turpits. What am I doing? Yeah, lethal 6 ways to Sunday. I don't recognize the card back or the board item. Oh, it's Japan. Okay. So this might just be Legions. This looks like a really goofy keep. But double SDKFC plus Fard plus Enigma, I think, is good enough to keep. This represents an absolute ludicrous amount of damage. Okay, it's like Shuffle. Yeah, it's just Shuffle. This is fine. I take the bump here. I play one of the KFCs. Next turn, play the second KFC, go for Svard. I don't even care if I don't draw that many cards off the Enigmas here. Even if it's like 3 cards, I think it's good enough. Okay. It's a Sabo, sure. Oh, I forgot the front and Homeland draw as well. I mean, I can draw 2 more cards off the Enigma if I bump here. Bump here. I draw 2 more cards. That's +4/+4. That's 18. That's lethal. If I'm not mistaken. Suck on that shuffle. Oh yeah, the Homeland does a lot for this deck. Like I was running the SDKFZ because it's just a decent 1-drop. Like it's a tank we're happy to play on 1. Like we don't necessarily want to play the KFC pack on turn 1 because we want to use that to kill our opponent 90% of the time. So I was running the SDKFZ, and it just turns out the SDKFC can just kill people very, very quickly. Never actually ran it. I would recommend it. Just, again, it's a decent one-drop to go along with your Panzer 2A. It's one you're just happy to play on turn 1. I think we just go Panzer 2A here. Next turn, I think, probably just push the Panzer. It's finally happened. This is the first time I've drawn Front and Homeland naturally. I am playing 4 2A, 4 copies of pack, and 3 of the new SDKFC. Another 2A. I think I just Buzz Bomb. Do I just Buzz Bomb? I could just get 2 Panzers into the front line here. Yeah, I want to hold the Buzz Bomb until after Front and Homeland. I think I just do. Oh, sure. That's A-okay. I will happily trade my 1k unit for your 2k countermeasure. That's A-okay with me. Bergman into route. Yes, sir. That's fine. I'm passing this turn anyway because I'm just playing Front and Homeland. Plus, also just on the SDKFC, if you're already playing Panzer 3F, you should be running this because giving this Blitz for free is pretty good. Okay, our Rado is now live. Find Turpits. So we go Arado here. Arado finds Suppression. I can draw with Suppression. The question is, should I play the KFC first? Because if... I don't think so, right? Because the draws would have to be... No, there's no way I can ever do it. It would have to be exactly like Suppression, draw 3F, Buzz Bomb, draw Greif is what would need to happen. I could just Turpits. I think the Suppression is probably still fine. Shifting attack. I could just Turpits. Find a prolonged siege. Probably get crossfired here, I would imagine. I didn't want to commit the SD. My plan was to commit the SD and the pack together because this always gets traded. Opponents are very scared of the pack. Trade this out, draw a card, find Jagd Bomber. I think Jagd Bomber might be entirely reasonable here. I can just Jagd Bomber send the 4H back. Play the SD and the Jagd Bomber. I don't think I get punished for this. I hope I don't get punished for this. I hope I don't get punished for this. I might get punished for this. But we do have the opportunity to maybe kill the opponent here. And so it doesn't get down to Buzz Bombs again. Oh, it's France ally. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, it only hits German cards. This is exactly why I'm only playing 4 non-German cards. The only non-German cards on the list are 2 Svard, 2 Siege. Everything else is German. That is a good draw. Play this, we'll go for Prolonged Siege. Because I can still go for the Svard after to take this trade. We'll hold this one because we have the 3F in hand. So we can just hand dump again next turn, go for Enigma and kill my opponent. Not a believer in three Svard? I don't think so. It's great. You just don't want your hand to be clogged up with them is the issue. Crossfire? Yeah. I mean, that's just GG, right? Yeah, I mean, the Panzer plus Tirpitz is... We'll play around... we'll play around it. Just in case. Yeah. So this should be lethal. Yeah. The three Svards, like, again, Svard is great. You just don't want to draw multiple. You only ever really need to see one Svard over the course of the game, for the most part. Yet more Germany. We'll keep this. This is a crazy aggressive opener. And it's Navy burn. Never mind, chat, the rally might be good yet. If any matchup is going to be good for rally. Oh, they have the route turn 1. That's fine. But this does enable our 35T to kill the plane. So. Working hours for me. Will lurk for a while. Great to see you, hear you. You're streaming again. Well, thanks, Jesus. Good to see you again, Farcaster. Hopefully you have a good rest of your day while working. We go KFC pack here, right? I really want to play everything here, but I can't because crossfire. I think it's just 2A. And push this. I could buzz bomb. Do I want to buzz bomb? Does buzz bomb make sense? I'm gonna pass. Yeah, the reason I'm doing this is just to play around crossfire. He can remove 2 things with crossfire. If there's a route, there's a route. But next turn it's gonna be KFC. It's Italy. Sure. Oh, we drew it for turn! It happened! Oh, it happened! Oh, that's a shame. It finally happened. It's fine. We don't really care. It's not in our game plan right now. We're just gonna go KFC pack, we're gonna go Svard, we're gonna go Fast Heinz here. I'm gonna do this just to turn off any shenanigans. Yeah, so this is the Germany-Italy air list that was running around. So this deck I know for a fact runs 2 copies of Crossfire. And I hate that aggro gets to run Crossfire. Find another KFZ. No, I should Homefront first. I don't think I'm playing anything else in my hand. I'm just gonna go front and home and then Buzz Bomb. That is a very good draw. Oh, he's dead. Never mind. I never counted. He was just dead. Teehee. Up against Germany. I think I just full ship this. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. Likely gets routed, but it's fine. Script before they start winning again. Depending on how this goes, we might be looking at a turn 5 front and Homeland. Might just Jaeger. I'm just trying to figure out if I have lethal Blitzkrieg this turn. Liberation, crazy. No, I don't have lethal Blitzkrieg, I don't think. I could still just Blitzkrieg to get the damage, right? Because Blitzkrieg is, what, this is 6 plus another 6 is 12, 7 to 8. 7 to 7 with Buzz Bomb. I can't Buzz Bomb first because if I hit a resistance, I'm just going to be upset. Am I better off? No, I have to take the damage here. So no matter what happens here, I'm attacking. Am I spending the Blitzkrieg? I'll take a look at the list after this. That is fine. If you want to kill this 1-3, I draw a card. Call Colonies heal 8. On Greif. Greif is great. KFC Pack is not lethal. I can try and dig with Prolonged Siege. Find Yak Bomber, Arado, Heinz, Suppression. I can go Arado, Suppression. Find another Sfard. I just hold it this then. Henschel. Do we have lethal? Is the question. I don't think we do, but it's like pretty close. I will dump some of my hand here. Do this. Maybe this is lethal, actually. Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah. I forgot the... I forgot the Greif could also move this turn. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, this deck is so silly. A lot of the times this is able to produce absolutely ridiculous games. As you saw, like versus Shuffle with the KFCs, it just sometimes playing them in turn 1 is just enough to kill your opponent if they can't interact with them. And versus the control decks, the fact that this is able to repeatedly refill its hand and just dump and push ridiculous amounts of damage makes it a very difficult deck to interact with or like respond to in a lot of cases. So yeah, like I said, the biggest outlier is Intel. You could, in theory, slot in White Death for Intel. I don't think it's worth it, I'll be honest. Because Intel is already such a bad matchup, I don't think it's worth impacting our win rate versus the decks we're actually good into by including a card that we don't want to draw in those matchups, just to improve what is already a bad matchup into a mediocre matchup at best. So yeah, I think playing White Dead is probably a mistake. Like I said, you really don't want to be playing any more finish cards than you have to just because of Front and Homeland. And in other matchups, this is going to clog our hand with our Enigmas and stuff. So yeah, I don't recommend it. I think you should just probably take the loss from Intel on the chin and just move on. Just play into your strengths like the other matchups in the metagame. And just write off the Intel matchup. That's what I've been doing. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, the deck is a ton of fun. Hopefully you guys check it out. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.